We finally made it. It's episode 7. We thought we'd never get here. Welcome to the Axis of Combat. It's your boy Ray Boogie, the Boogie One. And my co-host here, El Hugo himself.
Hugo the boss. Hugo got next. You already know. And before we kick off into this next card, heading into this weekend, UFC San Antonio. We're going to go and we're going to recap some of our bets from last weekend, UFC 286, because we had a monster weekend. So to start, we had Lerone Murphy, money line at minus 175. Jake Hadley inside the distance. Muhammad Makayev inside the distance. Jack Shore inside the distance. Marvin Vettori via decision. Well, me and my brother differed there. We'll get to that shortly.
Yeah, we don't have to talk about it right now.
And
Why you gotta bring that up?
And Gaethje Fiziev over a round and a half. As well, to hit on my parlay for Murphy, Hadley, Makayev, and Shore straight at plus 159 odds. Missed. My only miss is one parlay. Leroy Duncan hit, but Fiziev lost to Justin Gaethje. Incredible performance by Justin Gaethje. Overall, 9 out of 10.
Payday.
90%, baby. You already know.
Ooh-wee. Fire, boy.
And great night. Just a one-on-one on parlays. My older brother, on the other hand, had a good night as well. Hit at 67%. He took Herbert money line. Great bet. Because it was a pass, even though it was a draw. He took Hadley inside the distance as well. Lerone Murphy straight. Nelson via sub. And Edwards money line. Oh, and just to second that, I'm sorry. For Edwards, I hit on those two because I took Nelson via sub as well as Edwards money line as well. Easy money for us. We called a lot of that down to the T.
Payday. You want payday.
If you look at the previous card, the previous episode, we called the Leon Edwards fight down to a T.
Yeah.
We couldn't have described how it was going to go any better than it was. We also had my brother took the same 2-leg parlay with Chris Duncan and Fiziev. We missed on it because Fiziev lost. I mean, just the Leon Edwards fight, the way we seen things, the way we called it down to a T.
Because I predict these things.
It was pretty spot on. But that was last weekend. We made our money. We did what we had to do. Now on to the next one. This week we have UFC San Antonio.
San Antonio. But before we get started or anything, please don't forget to follow TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, everything. Please like, please follow, please subscribe to everything. Spotify, Google, Apple Play Store, everything. Please. We love you long time. Hook us up. Hook us up. A little like here, a little comment there, a little subscription here, everything free 99, you feel me? Just hook us up, man. Let us know that you love us as much as we love you.
And by the way, guys, once again, all of this stuff, as my brother just said, free 99, quality service, quality information. Well, I mean, we hitting over here at plus 67% of our bets.
Bruh.
Making good money for you guys over here. You guys don't have to know shit about MMA, but as long as you mirror our bets, we're pretty much good to go. And you guys are going to make money on the way out. So,
I mean, listen, as long as you're following just a little bit,
Payday.
you guys are getting,
You want payday.
you guys are making a little money at least, you know what I'm saying? So, just show us a little bit of support.
Yeah.
Just let us know you're there.
No charge, guys. No charge once again. But go ahead to kick off the card.
To kick off the card, it's San Antonio. Back in Houston, Texas. I think it's Houston. No, that's San Antonio, Texas. I'm a dummy. Doesn't matter. So get ready for some weird ass judging. But to kick off the card here, we have a women's bantamweight fight. And it is Tamires Tratora Vidal. And she is going against Hailey All Hail Cowan or Cowan. I think it's Cowan.
I think you're right.
Vidal Tratora, which in Brazilian means the tractor. She's 7-1, 6-fight win streak. She's a 24-year-old Brazilian. She's going against Hailey Cowan, who is 7-2, 2-fight win streak. Hometown advantage here. She's from Waco, Texas, 31 years old. The way I see this fight, I think they're trying to set up Cowan for a win here. She was supposed to fight my girl, Hailey Perez, about 2 weeks ago. Cowan mysteriously pulled out with a sickness. Now she's getting a lesser opponent. She's getting the hometown advantage. I think this fight is Cowan all the way. Low key. Or maybe high key. I don't know. That's the way I'm feeling. I like Cowan here. Vidal, she's a pressure fighter, but like her striking's a little You know, she throws like big, super overhand rights. She does this thing where she throws an overhand right and like a jab at the same time with the same right hand. Cowan, former gymnast. I think she's going to be the stronger of the two. I think where Tamires likes to put her opponents against the cage, I think that's where Cowan wants to fight. I think Cowan is going to be able to outmuscle her, take her down, beat her up. Don't know if it goes to decision or not. Don't know. But I think the money line is probably primo for the picking. But that's the way I feel. I don't know. It is low level women's. You know, my brother probably, you know, he'll what's the word I'm looking for here?
Dissect.
He'll dissect. Is it dissect? He'll go further into it. He'll let you know. Listen, I like this fight. This card in general is a little scary. So this is one of the few spots I'm kind of a little comfortable in. What do you got for me, brother?
Yeah, so the lean is definitely Cowan for everything that you echoed. I think she's a very strong girl. She knows how to use her body, you know, and of course with that gymnast background, which makes a lot of sense. She's a high level gymnast, so she's a very strong girl, very big. I agree. I think the UFC is trying to push her. I probably will be staying away from this fight just because it's low level MMA in general.
I don't blame you.
But I am not mad at people who want to take Hailey Cowan. She is the lean. She did open up as a plus 200 dog for whatever reason. I'm not sure why, but
yeah.
I wish I would have gotten those odds. I would have been a little more forward with taking her at the dog. But what I will say is very low level women's MMA. I will definitely be staying away from this fight. I also will echo my brother and tell you guys, just as a heads up for this card is extremely dangerous to bet on, in my opinion. A lot of people are saying that this is a good card to bet on. I disagree. I think there's a lot of spots where there can be violence, but I also think there's a lot of fights that can get drawn out and dragged to decision here. Cowan's the lean. Not sure if I'm going to put a bet on it. I think I'm going to stay away from it. We could definitely move on to the next fight, though, because not much else to say. You pretty much hit everything right on the head.
All right, so next fight. It is a flyweight fight, and it is starring Vinicius Salvador. His nickname is Fenomeno. I didn't get to look this one up. It's Brazilian, but it probably means something cool or maybe something lame. I don't know. And he's going against Victor Altamirano, a.k.a. El Magnifico. So the Salvador side, Salvador, yeah, okay. 26-year-old Brazilian, 14-4 overall. 4-fight win streak. Going head-to-head here with Altamirano, who is 32 years old. He's actually older than I thought. 32-year-old Mexican here. Fighting out of Texas, another hometown boy. One fight win streak is not really a win streak. But he won his last fight. 11-2 overall. The way I see this fight going, this is tough. I've been going back and forth about this fight for quite a bit. I think Salvador. Well, okay. I think this fight comes down basically to Salvador, who's got the one touch of death. You know, he's a big flyweight. Could put anybody out. He's got like 13 KOs or something crazy. He's got 12 plus KOs. And then he's going against Altamirano here, who's like more of a death by 1,000 cuts kind of guy.
I agree.
I think my lean at the moment is Altamirano, but I don't know. You ask me 5 minutes from now, it's probably going to be Salvador. I'm not sure. Might be a pass overall for me. How do you feel about this, brother?
I feel the same way about this fight as I do the next fight that we're going to talk about with Ogden. I think this fight can play out so many different ways, and Salvador can knock him out. But Altamirano, he can definitely stretch this fight out and get it into the later rounds and probably finish him late. It's a wild fight. By the way, guys, and that's the other thing. This is a great card to watch. Stylistically, a lot of these fights are fantastic. Just very hard to bet on because of the contrast in styles and the level of fights. Outside of the first fight, I think everything else after this is pretty competitive, high-level MMA. Like,
yeah,
there's a lot of great fights on this card stylistically.
There's no
boring fights on this card, man.
Yeah, because like there's a lot of flyweight fights. There's a lot of bantamweight fights. There's a couple of lightweight fights, featherweight fights. There's not really too many. I don't think there's any heavyweight fights on this. You know, usually UFC likes to put out these. We have to put out the mid-level, low-tier heavyweight fights, and you know, I think this fight. This card is it's very exciting in terms of like you're gonna see a lot of nice skill and a lot of overs, maybe a lot of unders. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think after the first fight, in my opinion, every fight going forward is high level, even the women's fights that are coming up too. I think they are very competitive in a lot of ways, and I think there are a lot of different ways they can go, which is a good thing for viewership, but not a great thing for betting. And that's why, like, I'm going to be honest with you guys, I don't think I'm going to be putting down a ton of bets on this card. But when I do feel comfortable, we will let you know. These lines just dropped today, so we apologize again if we're not giving you anything distinct, but it's very hard to pick on this card. Last weekend was a lot easier for me.
Yeah.
And for you as well. This card is, but just to echo again what you said, I think Altamirano, he is the better fighter here, but thing is, he has really good boxing, uses his distance well. He kind of he doesn't really back straight up either, has good technique on his exits, has good boxing defense. The problem is he hasn't fought a guy, in my opinion, that's as long as Salvador and that hits like Salvador.
Yeah.
And I can see Salvador hitting him in places where he didn't think he could get hit. I'd say the lean for me is definitely Salvador because I think Moreno has to kind of be a little perfect. But I'm actually looking at the rounds for this fight too. And I think there's a good chance it could probably go over a round and a half.
Yeah, I think that's a sneaky bet there. I kind of like that one a lot.
Problem is it's juice. It's at minus 185, which I don't think is terrible, but it might actually be the safest bet on this card, this fight.
Which is it's kind of crazy because Salvador, like, again, a lot of his fights end in KO. Yeah. And they end pretty early. But I think Altamirano's savvy enough to kind of like,
he's a good fighter. Withstand
that, maybe drag him a little to deep water, just a little bit, enough to maybe hit the over 1.5.
Right.
And, kind of like I feel like he can dictate this fight. We don't know what Salvador's gas tank looks like.
Right.
So that's going to be pretty interesting to see. I mean, maybe we don't get to see his gas tank because I think he also has rare power for this division. I mean, the fact that he's got 13 KOs, like,
yeah,
but yeah, for me, I don't blame you if you go Salvador. Again, 5 minutes from now, I might be leaning Salvador. I just don't know where to find anything here. It might be a pass for me overall, but I think the 1.5 could be a decent bet. That one's probably something I have to mull over a little bit, but I agree with you there.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Outside of that, I think that covers it for this fight. Okay. It's a great fight. I'd say Salvador's the lean, but Altamirano can definitely win this fight. The over, I think, is the bet. So, but nothing confirmed yet because some of these lines haven't even dropped yet, and that line is a little juice for the over for this fight. So, probably not, but we'll see. It's a scary fight to bet on.
Yeah.
So,
all right. Well, next fight, we'll move on. It's a lightweight fight between Manuel El Loco Torres, and he's going against Trey, the Samurai Ghost Ogden. Torres is 28 years old. He is a Mexican. 13-2 overall, 4-fight win streak. Trey Ogden, 16-5 overall. He's from Kansas City, Missouri. 33 years old, so he's a little bit longer in the tooth. Another one of these. He won his last fight. He's not like, well, one fight win streak is kind of weird to say. This fight, the way I feel about it, I'm kind of leaning Torres, but this fight kind of feels like a trap fight because of the way Ogden's last 2 fights played out. He went to, I think, split decision with Jordan Levitt. He lost that fight.
Yep.
And then ended up beating Daniel Zellhuber by unanimous decision.
Who's an up-and-coming prospect and is a really good fighter.
Yeah, and that guy has got a lot of things in common with Manuel Torres.
Mm-hmm.
You know, where, hot Mexican prospect, got hands. For me, I think Zellhuber probably had a little bit of the debut jitters. That's why he was kind of low. He didn't look like the way he usually fights. And credit to Trey Ogden. I mean, he fought a very smart game plan. I think Ogden's like a wrestler who has been developing his striking. He kind of fights like a vet,
right?
But he's only been he's only been in the UFC for like 2 fights,
right?
But Manuel Torres, hitter, finisher. He can crack. He's got some submission wins. I think he's my lean, but I'm not sure visually how this fight plays out in my head. What do you got for me, brother?
I mean, everything you echoed is pretty on point. Manuel Torres hits extremely hard. Trey Ogden, I feel this is another scary fight because I think the lean is definitely Torres, just because Torres is the angles he touches you too are like he's a very awkward fighter, but he hits extremely hard. He's also the younger fighter. I like him a lot. Just because of the power, but Ogden can definitely drag this fight into deep water. I really see that happening too. He's a very smart fighter, Ogden. Like yes. he makes good decisions.
I agree with that.
The over is live here at -135 for over round and a half. I'm gonna be honest with you, Manuel can clean him out bad.
Yeah, I'm looking at Torres right now, and he's only been to decision once. Besides that, a lot of his fights literally end in the first round. I think every one of his fights ended in the first round. He's never seen the second round, this guy, which is actually kind of nuts.
That's what I'm saying. And Trey Ogden, but I feel like Trey Ogden can expose that because Daniel Huber, exactly what you said, he is a good striker, very good angles, very good footwork, and he hits extremely hard, and Trey was able to deal with him, mitigate it, and get him into deep waters and win the decision. It wasn't even close. It wasn't a close fight at all.
And Trey's never been knocked out. He doesn't have any knockout wins, but he's never been knocked out.
The over might be live in this fight, guys. I will say that. I think the over round and a half can definitely happen. I just don't know because Manuel hits so hard, and it's a scary play. Like I said, our job is to make sure we can securely put money back into your pocket with interest, essentially.
Yes. And
I'm not going to tell you to bet something that I don't feel extremely confident on.
I think I'm less confident in this over only because I think, like Torres, I don't think he's going to have the same jitters that Zellhuber had because, I mean, he already had his first fight against Camacho where he pieced up.
Right.
And sent that man to, Heaven's Gate.
Yeah. So
it's an interesting fight. My lean personally is Torres.
I agree.
But I don't have an actual feel because Ogden's a tricky guy.
Ogden's live.
Yeah.
He's a live dog.
He is.
He's a live dog.
And we don't know what, bark, Yoel, bark. And for Torres, I mean, he has submission wins, but it was hard to find footage on him on the ground. So I don't know what he looks like. And Ogden's got 11 submission wins. So if Ogden decides to bring this to the ground, that's going to be kind of an interesting aspect to see.
Right.
Ogden will be the one that would drag this fight out.
Yeah.
But again, I mean, Torres got 6 submission wins, so who knows? I mean, he could just catch him in a guillotine or some kind of crazy. We don't know what this guy looks like on the ground at all. We barely know what he looks like standing. So it's all we know is that he's got hands.
Yeah, he's lanky enough to be a guillotine threat too. It's so interesting. This fight, that's what I'm saying. This card is so good but there's so many spots that I'm scared to put money confidently because the fights are so close.
Yep, I agree.
And if they're not close, there's not too many glaring holes for these fighters to win these fights, and to cleanly win these fights. So maybe the over. Ogden's definitely a live dog in this fight. And I think that's all I got to say about that.
Yeah, we could move on to the next fight, which is another flyweight fight featuring CJ Vergara, no nickname, going against Daniel De Silva. Mijo. I think it's a Mijo. That's another Brazilian one I didn't get to look up. CJ Vergara, he is 31 years old from San Antonio, Texas. He's a hometown guy. 10-1, 10-4, and 1 overall. Lost his last fight going against Daniel Da Silva. 26-year-old Brazilian, 3-fight losing streak, 11-4 overall. Both these guys are definitely on their last fights of their 4-fight contracts. So this is like a winner move on and loser go home kind of situation for both fighters. The way I see this fight kind of playing out, I mean, Daniel Da Silva, the king of the under 1.5, like he don't miss in his wins or losses. He don't miss. Under 1.5 is usually a smart bet for Da Silva. But going against CJ Vergara, who's got that dog in him.
Right.
And Vergara's been kind of matched up tough. His last fight was against Taisura Taira, who he looked pretty solid against. But, for me, Taira is he's got top 15 potential. Before that, Vergara, I'm not sure if it was his last fight or his first fight, but I know he went the distance with Ode Osborne and almost cleaned him out. Yeah. Because you know how Osborne gasses. This fight's a little tricky. Low key, I know people like to smash the under. I think this is a very sneaky over 1.5. Only because of CJ Vergara's style. And I think CJ Vergara is my lean for this fight.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, I think CJ is definitely gonna win this fight. Daniel Da Silva, after the first round,
Horrible fighter. Horrible fighter.
he's Americani. He's Americani of this weight class and Brazilian.
Brazilian Americani.
This dude, he's good for maybe 3-4 minutes, and then
it's insane because in those 3-4 minutes, he looks like Charles Oliveira. His technique is sick. His striking is sick. His grappling is sick. He's actually a solid fighter.
Right.
The problem is for me, I think it's half cardio and half mental. I feel like after it passes the halfway mark of the first round, or gets towards the end of the first round, he almost he almost kind of gets tired and checks out at the same time, which is unfortunate because I think he's actually a solid fighter.
Yeah, he's a very solid fighter. That's why I'm a little scared about picking the over 1.5 on this with you, because it's a situation where I think he does look for the door when he doesn't pack you up. The thing is, I agree with you with the CJ stance because CJ is not necessarily a finisher.
Yeah.
He has 14 fights. He has 15 fights. He's only stopped 6 of them. His other 6 are by decision, and he has 2 losses by submission.
Yes.
He's not really a submission threat. He's not a big guy. He's not really he's not a guy with quick hands and quick kicks.
I agree.
He's, I could see Da Silva being able to survive with him into the second round and it carrying over. I agree. This might be a spot, especially at plus 155, considering that CJ's not a prolific finisher. Mm-hmm. I could see this fight getting extended because I could see Da Silva hanging out on the floor and, just surviving for his life, and then CJ just not burying him. I think the over around the half is very sneaky here at plus 155. At plus money too, I'll take a shot, especially since I'm not going to be putting a lot of bets on this card. It's not an official bet, guys, but I think it's a very sneaky play. And I do think that it's definitely something we should look into. Don't be surprised if fight night, when we tell you guys, when we post on our Instagram and Twitter that we
probably got the over on
got the over on this one. I agree.
And yeah. Like CJ, the thing about CJ is like, like my brother said, he's not the quickest. He doesn't have the most powerful hands, but he's got that dog in him.
Yeah.
He's a tough guy. He's a tough out. And I could see him, again, the fight going one or two ways. Either because this fight is also kind of tailor-made. If there's a fight that De Silva could win, it's probably this one.
Yeah.
Because, again, CJ's not the quickest guy. And this, like I said, De Silva looks like a god. Literally a god, a fighting god in the first, half of the round. So I could see De Silva probably getting him out early. But I'm going to lean on CJ's tenacity and his toughness to kind of extend this. De Silva's going to get tired, I feel like. And then that's where CJ is going to be able to implement his game plan. Maybe get him out. But I do think the over 1.5 is sneaky because I like I said, he's not a prolific finisher. But I think he can get him out. But I think it's going to be late second round, maybe third round.
Yep. I agree.
That's the way I kind of see this fight playing out. So I agree with my brother. I think the over 1.5 is very sneaky, not official, but it might be official. But that's where we're leaning.
Right.
So next fight, I think it is a welterweight fight. It is. And it is with Trevin, the Problem Giles, former cop, going against Preston Pressure Parsons.
He's a former cop?
I think he is a former cop, or he might be a current cop.
Current cop.
I've seen some stuff on the line that he, they call him Officer Giles. I thought it was pretty funny, but I'm not too sure what his current status is. Trevin Giles, 15-4. Also another Texas boy. He's from Houston though, 30 years old, going against Preston Parsons, who's from Jacksonville Beach, Florida, 27 years old. They both won their last fights. He's 10-3 overall, Preston Parsons. This fight is tricky. This fight's a little tricky because, my opinion, I think Trevin Giles, he's got all the talent in the world. I think he's a good striker. He's got a really good jab. He can wrestle. He's almost like the complete package. The only problem with Trevin Giles is that mentally sometimes he's just he has brain farts, or he'll, there's not that he finds ways to lose, but I don't know, just mentally sometimes he just checks out sometimes.
I agree.
And then Preston Parsons, dog. Pressure is a very fitting nickname for him because he's relentless with his wrestling, relentless with his striking. He's more of a wrestler than a striker. But he's green, he's still kind of young to the game, even though he's 27. He's still kind of young to the game. Fighting Giles, who's he was 100% a veteran, but this is his third weight class. He's been dropping down, trying to find his way. It's a tough fight. For me, it's just a tough fight to cap, a tough fight to kind of picture mentally, because it could just go a whole bunch of ways. I feel like Giles could be the lean, but I kind of like Preston to kind of put it on him and make him feel uncomfortable. I don't know. What's your read on this? I don't know. So
I agree with everything you said. And just to echo this fight is a pick'em at -110, which I completely agree with for a lot of reasons. Trevin Giles, he can be a world beater. And I will say when he's on for his opponents,
Police! Help! Police! Help!
Since he's a cop, but when his brain is turned off,
Police! Help! Police! Help!
Bruh.
Yo, he's the perfect example of fighters that I don't like to bet on. And the reason being is because he's too inconsistent with his decision making. And I feel like he has all the talent in the world. He just cannot really put it together because he makes bad fight decisions. He does. Preston Parsons, on the other hand, makes a lot of good fight decisions. Very big, very stout boy.
Yeah.
The thing is with him, though, since he's gotten to the UFC, he took Daniel Rodriguez on short notice. I think it looked like he broke his orbital in that fight because he got cracked with a clean straight from Daniel.
Yeah.
Got hurt. But now you figure, okay, he took that fight on short notice against a guy who's pretty much proven. And he had his moments in that fight. He was actually cracking D-Rod with brilliant boxing. The way he would angle, he went to the body, then he came over the top of D-Rod's shoulder, hit him right across the chin. Nasty stuff. The problem is that Preston in his last fight fought Evan Elder, who is a guy who's a weight class below, and he couldn't get him out of there. And I'm not saying Evan Elder's a bad fighter, but the thing is, Evan took that fight on short notice.
Yeah.
And Preston didn't really impress. I thought he should have stopped that fight. He had the size advantage, and he kind of faded at the end of the third round. Evan started putting it on him a little bit.
And then he's fighting Giles, who's moving down in weight. So he's going to be, it's not like Elder where he's, Elder's the smaller guy. Trevin Giles, I don't think he's going to be necessarily the bigger guy, but he's the guy coming down from the bigger weight classes to fight him. So.
Right. And Trevin has beaten Ryan Spann at 205, and he's beaten the other homeboy. What's his name? Another big boy.
He beat Delitze,
and Delitze is a hammer at 85, and he was a hammer at 205 too because he's humongous for 85.
Yeah.
This fight, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I might pass on this fight. As some of these lines look good, maybe under 2.5, but I think I'm gonna pass on this fight for look at all the questions we kind of presented to you guys. There's just a lot of places where things can go wrong in this fight. That's how I feel about it, and I feel like Preston hasn't shown it to me. He's only got 2 fights, even though the only reason I'm even leaning the 2.5 is because Preston, I think, has 10 fights. 9 of them have gotten stopped except for the Evan Elder one, which is insane.
He's a finisher.
And Trevin has 19 fights. I think only 4 of them have gone to decision.
No, I don't think. I think his only 4 losses, he has 2 KO losses and 2 sub losses.
Yeah, 14 fights, only 4 of them have gone to decision.
Yeah.
And he's won all 4 of them.
Yeah.
But the thing is, the rest of his fights have got, that's why I think the under is live here. I think the under 2.5, it's at minus 175. I might commit to that, but I'm not going to, what I will say is I think that's the bet I'm leaning towards for sure. I'm not picking a winner in this fight because this fight can go so many different ways.
Yeah, this is the fight where, again, you ask me 5 minutes from now, I'm going to have a different opinion. Like right now, I'm kind of leaning Parsons. 5 minutes from now, I don't know, I might be leaning Giles. 5 minutes again, I might be leaning Parsons again. Currently, I'm leaning Parsons. Might be a pass. I don't know. I'm still kind of like mulling this one over. Probably got to watch maybe some more footage or, maybe see if there's any kind of lines we could take advantage of. But at the moment right now, I'm kind of like hands off on this fight. A little bit. Just a little bit.
Just a little bit, yeah. The only bet that interests me is the under 2.5.
Yes.
I think the under 2.5 is very live in this fight because Parsons gasses and Trevin Giles hits like a truck, but Parsons also can hit like a truck too. There's a lot of things I like about the under in this fight. So I think the under might be the way I'm leaning. And we can definitely move on from this fight. So
okay. So next fight we got here is a featherweight fight. And we got Steven Ocho Peterson going against Lucas the Lion Alexander. Steven Peterson, 19-10 overall. He's another hometown guy. Not San Antonio. He's fighting out of McKinney, Texas. 32 years old. Vet in the game. 1 fight lose streak. I guess it's not a lose streak. I keep saying that. He lost his last fight. Going against.
It's all good. It's a streak. It's a start of a streak. So.
I guess it's kind of I don't know. Is it a streak?
Can
you count one thing as a streak?
Yeah. In fighting it is.
Yeah, okay. So he's going against Lucas Alexander, the 27-year-old Brazilian, is 7-3. Another 1 fight lose streak, I guess. The way I kind of see this fight going, and I think my brother will agree with me, not agree on me. Can you agree on me?
Hey, yo.
Put it on God, bro. I think this fight can go over. I think the over might be the bet on this fight. Steven Peterson, tough to get out. He's only been finished once, and I think that was like in 2013. Tough dude. Extremely tough. Well-rounded guy, too. Lucas Alexander. Green, but he's got hands. And the way I see this fight playing out is similar to one of Steven Peterson's last fights where he fought Andre Feely, where back and forth exchanges. I think if Peterson could pressure Alexander, probably could make him a little uncomfortable. But I think if Alexander gets I think he's longer. So if he gets to fight at distance and gets to keep the fight at distance, I think it's him all the way. It's a weird fight. It's a weird fight because I think it just depends on which who gets to implement their game plan. And I think maybe the best bet might be the over 1.5. If you gun to the head, I think I'm leaning Alexander. Like I said, Peterson is a tough out. That's kind of what I'm feeling.
I agree with you. And the fight you were thinking about, because there's a lot of cross fighting here. It was not against Feely, it was against Arosa.
God.
They fight long though, so it makes sense. But
you're right. My bad.
I love the over in this fight. If there's an over round and a half prop that pops up, I'll take it. Over 2.5 at -140. I'm kind of on it as well too. I like that bet a lot because Steven Peterson is extremely durable, and Lucas Alexander is not the biggest finisher. He's not. He's not a big puncher, but he's a very precise puncher. But I expect Steven Peterson to use his grappling and to use his vet savvy to extend this fight. I also like this fight over round and a half, over 2.5. My lean's definitely Lucas Alexander. I think, arguably not. I think the thing is. This is another tough fight to call because if Peterson can get this fight to the floor, it can be he can probably stop him.
Yeah, because we don't know what Alexander looks like on the ground either.
Yeah, and all 3 of his losses are by submission.
Yeah,
but against guys who are very grappling, not really because Brito's a puncher too. He just took his back and smashed him.
Yeah,
but
he kind of just snatched his back.
Yeah, and just took his neck. But what I will say is I think the over is live here. I don't think this fight gets finished quick. Lucas, I think, is a live dog, though, because he has very good in and out movement. He uses his footwork and sets up his shots.
Yeah.
I don't think he's completely incompetent on the floor. And the guys that are submitting him are explosive grapplers, guys that explode into positions and essentially, take his neck quick and just don't give him any room to breathe. Steven Peterson is not really like an explosive or tight-knit grappler. He kind of just knows how to use his grappling well for MMA, and you've seen it when he fought that young kid, Chase Hooper. But that's also what scares me a little bit too with Steven Peterson, which is why I think this fight is live. Steven Peterson doesn't make the best fight decisions. He'll go to the floor with Chase Hooper, and he'll stand with Julian Erosa for a war and not use his wrestling. It's weird, and that Superman tattoo on his chest, I think he lives it a little too much, but it's...
Yeah,
he thinks he's Superman, but I don't know necessarily if he is, so.
I feel like Peterson kind of takes the fight where his opponents want to take the fight.
It's interesting, yeah.
So Chase Hooper wanted to grapple with him because, that's Chase Hooper's, way to win. So he was like, okay, you want to grapple? We'll grapple. Again with, I keep thinking Andre Feely.
Arosa.
Went
to a war.
Erosa kept it standing, so... Peterson was like, all right, let's just bang then. And I feel like, so Lucas probably is going to get the fight that he wants.
Yes.
For the most part, unless Peterson feels like he's in any kind of danger, then I could see him probably shooting on him.
But it'd be more like a panic, like a panic shot.
Yeah. And for the most part, I think Lucas is going to be able to get the fight that he wants.
I agree.
So I understand why he's the favorite. Maybe I'm considering it, but maybe not. I might just pick him straight because I think he is a little bettable. Is he even the dog?
Oh, Lucas?
Yeah.
Yeah, Lucas is a plus 140 dog in this fight.
Really?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I like it. And the thing is, he's the younger guy. Steven Peterson, I think this is his 30th fight, man. He's very long in the tooth.
30th? Yeah, you're right.
So this is what I'm saying. This fight, I love the over in this fight. Matter of fact, I'm going to tell you guys right now, the over a round and a half, whatever the line comes out to, as long as it's not over -200, I'm committing to it. Well, that is the bet. Even the -2 and even the over 2.5, I think is very live in this fight.
Yeah.
At -140, but over a round and a half for sure. over 2.5 is definitely a bet that we can probably commit on.
Even if it's slightly juiced, you could probably parlay it because I think this over is probably one that probably hits.
Yes.
Unless for some reason, because I mean, Lucas got pop, but like I said, Peterson is a tough out.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to get him out. But I think whenever you're going to see whenever they exchange, I think Lucas will be getting the better of the exchanges only because he's got the quicker hands, because he's the younger guy, and he's definitely got more pop. So, yeah, I can't disagree with anything you're saying. The fact that Lucas he is plus money is kind of nuts.
It's nuts.
And it almost, I'm tempted.
Yeah.
Very tempted. Maybe then might just take him straight. I don't know.
The over is a safe bet, in my opinion. But I also think Lucas can win this fight.
And like you
There's
said,
no question.
This, again, this card can be very tricky. This could be potentially another trap fight. But I'm kind of leaning more, not really trap fight, more, I think our analysis is a little more straightforward for this one, because I think more likely than not, it's probably going to play out the way we're saying it's playing out. So
Right.
I like this. I like the over 1.5. I think that hits.
Yep, I agree.
But we can move on. We'll move on to the next fight here. Ooh, featherweight fight. And it is with Daniel Pineda. The Pit, Daniel Pineda versus Tucker Top Gun Lutz. Daniel Pineda, another guy who's long in the tooth, 37 years old, from Houston, Texas, another hometown guy. 27-14. My man's got over 40 fights. He had a draw his last fight. That was against Andre Fili.
Andre Fili.
That's the fight I kept getting mixed up. Going against Tucker Top Gun Lutz. 1 fight L streak. 12-2 overall. He is 28 years old, so definitely almost 10 years younger than Daniel Pineda. The way I see this fight playing out, tricky. This is another one where I think gun to the head, I think I'm leaning Lutz. But I don't know how to feel like I think it's hard. It's probably harder for me to get to Pineda than it is to Lutz. But I think, man, I don't know what to think about this fight.
Yeah. I agree. And jump in. It was not a draw. It was a no contest because of the eye poke.
Yes.
It's all good. Same shit.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the D here. Pause.
Hey.
I see the D next to his name. Hey, yo, know what I'm saying? You're right. It was an eye poke, so it got ruled a no contest.
Yeah, what I will say, guys, about this fight, it's another fight that's very scary to bet on because it's weird, right? And here's another thing that's hilarious. Like, Pineda's older by 10 years, but Tucker looks like he's older by 10 years. He's built like an old man, bro. Like, he has like a big torso and no legs, bro. It's weird. But what I will say is that
weird physique.
I think the fight could get extended over a round and a half in this fight. The problem is that Pineda gasses and gets finished early, typically.
Yeah.
The fights don't go along with him because he throws everything into every shot. He can clean them, but he doesn't have a lot of fights that go over a round and a half. Quite frankly, he either gets stopped early or he does the stopping early. That's what he usually does. I could see Tucker Lutz stalling him out because Tucker Lutz is not the most prolific finisher, and I think he is my lean in this fight. I like the over round and a half in this fight. They haven't released the odds on it, but I love the over. I do. I can't say that this fight's going to get stopped, but the thing is, I also can probably make that argument because how many fights does Pineda's had over 40 fights. Only 5 of them have gone to decision.
Bro, he's
either killed or be killed.
Yes.
So the thing is Lutz a guy that's really a prolific finisher? Not necessarily, like 50%.
I mean, he's got finishes, but yeah, you're right. I agree with you.
The safest bet in this fight, in my opinion, is the over round and a half.
Yeah.
They don't even have the odds out yet, but if it's under 200, I will be committing to it.
I mean, who knows? Maybe Pineda just gets him out early.
That can happen too.
Pineda, again, a little long in the tooth, but he's got hands.
Yeah.
And he's a competent grappler. We don't, I'm a bank on Lutz surviving that. But anything beyond that, kind of a question mark. I do agree with you. I think Tucker is going to be able to kind of just withstand that barrage. Pineda off the PEDs, off the CVS pharmacy, the Rite Aid. He's getting he's a little soft in the body.
He is soft to the body.
Yeah, I can see this going over 1.5. I think more likely than not over 1.5. Questionable
for over 2.5, man.
Yeah,
very questionable. Just because Pineda he'll go out on his shield.
Yes,
and he will, and he'll give Tucker that chance to show him the door, right? Yeah. So, I like the over round and a half. It hasn't even opened up yet, but the over round and a half for this fight is definitely the bet. If not a parlayable piece, I agree. I think it's a parlayable piece. I'll go that far.
Yep, depending on how juiced the number is. Yeah. Either straight or parlay.
Yeah. But,
I think so.
But we can, outside that, we can move on from that fight. I think we hit everything on the head.
All right. And now we're on the main card here. And first fight on the main card is my boy. Middleweight fight. Chidi. Bang Bang Njokuani. And he's going against Albert Machete. I didn't even know that was his nickname. Albert Machete Duraev.
Machete.
Chidi Bang Bang, 28-8. Lost his last fight.
22-8.
Oh, yeah, I definitely read that wrong.
It's all good, boy.
It's the caffeine, bro. 22-8. Fighting out of Las Vegas, Nevada. 34 years old. Going against Albert Machete Duraev. Also fighting out of Las Vegas, but he's a Russian. Also on a one fight lose streak. They both lost their last fights. 15-4 overall. Also 34 years old. The way I see this fight playing out, bang, bang.
They would have been packing them up.
Yes. Listen, maybe, I don't know. I'm just a fan of Chidi. First of all, dude's got the sickest baritone voice ever. He should be doing voiceover somewhere. He's got the sickest, deepest voice. But I think he got it like in an accident or some kind of... He ended up getting sick and then his voice ended up deepening.
Shit, get me sick.
If you could get a voice like Chidi's...
Get me sick.
I'm not gonna lie. I mean, he got me thinking some things. Hey, yo, you know what I'm saying? Like, he got that sexy voice. You know what I'm saying? That radio voice. Woo! But like fight style wise, I mean, Chidi, accurate striker, power in his hands, power in both hands. I know he had struggles early on in his career with grappling. I think he's kind of shored that up just a little bit. Enough where I think he can handle Duraev here. Duraev been knocked out 4 times. All 4 of his losses are knockout. He could probably give Chidi some trouble here because he's a good chain wrestler. But I don't know. The way I just see it, I don't know. I just like Chidi. I like Chidi here. Maybe it's me being a fan, but maybe it's me seeing what I'm seeing. And what I'm seeing is bang, bang. You feel me?
Yeah, I'm with you on this. I mirror this. Chidi's probably going to be the first straight bet I make in this card. They got him at -155. I think that's, I don't want to say it's a steal, but the thing is, Duraev, yeah, he can wrestle. But Duraev also had struggles taking down Kapilov, who I don't think is a very competent grappler.
Yeah.
He's okay. But Chidi's a black belt in jiu-jitsu, has shown in the past to be able to at least deal with the first few flurries of wrestling. And Duraev is, I don't want to say he's chinny, but he gets touched and he goes down.
Yeah. I mean, Kapilov was able to just like hit him with a jab and he went straight down. And then Duraev ended up immediately shooting for the single leg.
Right. I agree. And the thing is, you can't make those kind of mistakes with Chidi. If Chidi touches you, man, you go to sleep. I like Chidi by knockout in this fight. I like Chidi straight because his line is good enough to be a straight. And I think he might be our...
They would have been packing them up.
...of the week. Straight up, man.
I
think he might knock him out. I mean, it might be early, it might be late, but I just like him straight. I think Chidi's just a better fighter.
I think more than likely, it's a knockout. I do agree with you. I do see a scenario where... Because they both can gas out. And I do see a scenario where it gets to the 3rd round and Duraev huffing and Chidi huffing.
Yep.
And it's a real sloppy fight at the end. I'm still leaning Chidi because, again, better striker. He's the bigger man with the longer utensils.
Hey.
Pause. And I could see this getting to a sweaty decision. And also, if it does get to the third round, I could see Duraev maybe having a little more success because of his chain wrestling, taking Chidi down. But the lean is Chidi. I think Chidi KO. Chidi KO maybe first round, maybe second round for sure. If not, still Chidi decision is Chidi. I just love Chidi, man. Bang bang, you feel me? Bang bang.
Yeah, the bet for me is Chidi. I'm committing.
Yeah, I mean his money line is nice.
It's nice, man, and
nice.
I think he knocks him out. So
yeah,
but we could move on.
Okay, next fight, flyweight, another flyweight fight, and it is with Alex Perez, no nickname, versus my boy Manel Starboy Kape. Alex Perez, 2-fight lose streak, 31 years old, 24-7. Going against my boy Manel Kape. Starboy is he's fighting out of, I didn't know he was from Portugal. Interesting. But fighting out of Las Vegas. 29 years old, 18-6 overall. I like Kape here. I mean, if you couldn't tell from the intro, I mean, I think Kape is like top 15 potential, top 10 potential, even possible championship potential. I like him that much. Hard to kind of like figure out how he's going to handle Alex personally, because the way I see it is I think he does beat him up. I think Kape, I don't know. It's weird. This one's weird. I think Kape wins. I just don't know how he wins, because Kape could knock him out clearly. I think Kape's got an underrated submission game, so he could sub him, or Kape could play with his food and ended up taking him to decision.
I agree.
Alex, I mean, line stepper, habitual, at least when it comes to like making weight or showing up to fights, and I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I think if I had to, if they had lines open for people missing this fight, Alex Perez might be a live bet, a live dog. If he was an underdog to not make this fight.
I know he'd be a favorite to not make the fight.
Yeah, that's more accurate, and I'd be cashing that.
Yeah.
But as well too, both these guys have some trouble making weight, so it's interesting. Like I'd also bet on that. That's one of them misses weight.
I hope this fight makes it to the card, because I do want to see this fight.
It's a great fight.
Yeah.
And Alex, the thing is, it's weird because his last 2 fights, he got subbed in under 2 minutes.
Yeah.
By Alexander Pantoja, who's going to be fighting for the belt next, and Davison Figueiredo, who was the belt holder. So the thing is, he's pulled out of so many fights. If you go to his Tapology, I think he has pulled out of, I got you right now, pulled out, or the bout got canceled because he either missed weight by an egregious amount 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times since the Davison Figueiredo loss, which is
wow. Yeah.
3 years ago, man. And, he fought Pantoja, but Pantoja dispatched him last year. I like Manel Kape because I feel like Manel Kape is just more improving. He's more active. I feel like he has Perez is good on the feet, but I feel like maybe Manel can give him some different looks. I like Manel Kape here as well. I think Manel Kape's going to win this fight. And Alex just has too many question marks. And if, like I told you guys in the past, if he's not a great fighter and he has a lot of question marks coming in, I'm going to fade you. You got to show it to me.
Yeah.
So I think Manel Kape is definitely the play here.
Yeah, and I can see Alex Perez gassing out midway into the second, and then probably getting finished either end the second, end the third. Again, like you said, his last 2 fights got finished by submission. That's why I think kind of the Kape submission is live, because I think he wants to kind of like showcase that kind of like, hey, I got that submission game in my back pocket too. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But yeah, I don't know how Kape wins this, but I do think he wins, and I think he's the rightful side. What are the odds on this? Do you know?
Minus 175, Kape.
Wow.
I'm taking that.
That's actually pretty solid.
I'm taking that. Yep.
I could see. Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of like that money line a little bit there.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Like who Manel Kape is, who he's lost to, Pantoja.
Yep.
And Matias Nicolou, who are both good fighters, man.
Yeah, they're very good
They're
fighters.
good fighters. So, and the thing is, like, he actually hung in there with Pantoja. He didn't get subbed in the first round. So, like Perez. Perez is also small, That scares me. So, yeah, I think Manel Kape he's definitely the lean here. He's definitely the bet, actually. I'm going to commit to betting on him. Him and Chidi, bang, bang, they're my bets. So, for sure.
Bang, bang. I think we can move on to the next fight.
I agree.
Next fight here, flyweight, women's flyweight. Andrea KGB Lee going against Macy, the Future Barber. I don't like the Future. Such a corny ass nickname.
Yeah.
Andrea KGB Lee, 13-6, fighting out of Louisiana, 34 years old. She's actually older than I remember, but she's been fighting for a while. Lost her last fight going against 11-2 Macy Barber, 24 years old. 3-fight win streak. This fight is maybe it's a little bit of a stay away from me. I think gun to the head. I like Macy Barber.
Yeah.
I think she can get it done. But she is a line stepper sometimes. And then Andrea Lee, I think it's about that time, I feel like, I don't know. I don't want to say she's overrated. I think she's got some decent skills. She actually might be a little live here too, to be honest.
You went from overrated to live.
Listen,
that is hilarious.
I just don't know how to feel about this fight. So
No.
it's the more I'm just thinking it over, the more my thoughts are just bouncing all over the place. So
I agree. I agree.
What do you think? I don't know. This fight is weird.
I'll be honest with you. I think Macy is the lean here. I think she's been figuring it out lately. But at minus 275 odds,
Stupid. I'm not gonna let you get the chance.
not at my money. I'm not playing with that, man.
Wait, Macy Barber is
minus 275. To be honest, and I'm assuming the over is juiced. It has to be, right? Look, the fight to start round 2 minus 900. The fight to start round 3 minus 400.
Oh my god.
Yeah, this fight is. To be honest, if you want to take a dog shot at Lee, I wouldn't do it.
Nah.
But she is live because she does present a lot of things on the feet that I don't think Macy has dealt with.
I do agree with that.
Macy hasn't dealt with a striker like Andrea Lee.
But I think Andrea Lee doesn't like pressure fighters, and I think Macy Barber can make her very uncomfortable with the pressure.
I agree. And then she also has better wrestling. But Andrea's got slicker jiu-jitsu, in my opinion. It's like I said.
It's interesting. Yeah.
I'm staying. It's a great fight.
It might be a pass.
It's definitely a pass.
I think it's probably a pass.
There's no way to bet it. I'm gonna put minus 235 on
Macy Barber.
On Macy Barber.
Stupid. I'm not gonna let you get the chance.
Please. I don't know who's making these Vegas odds, but
I mean, I could see why they made it because of the way Macy fights. But I mean, the right Macy's got to show up.
Right.
But I think she can. I mean,
she's shown up the last couple of fights.
yeah, she's been getting it together.
She has.
She has been.
But I mean, her at minus 275.
This is number one bullshit.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It just is she's maybe 2-1, not minus 275.
Yeah,
I wouldn't even go to maybe a high 100. Then I consider playing her, but maybe, and I would bet. I will say the over round and a half on this fight parlayable. For sure.
I mean, what is it?
They don't have it available, man.
Oh, that's right.
That's the problem, Actually, no, they do. It's minus 550. Yeah, sorry.
No, I don't know.
Maybe the over 2.5 at minus 270 because I don't think anyone gets stopped in this fight.
Maybe
it might, but if Andrea does win, it's by submission.
This might be a stay away.
I'm gonna stay away from this fight.
It's a stay away.
I think you're right, but you could parlay the minus 550 with something else that you like. It's a little juice, but you parlay it.
A little juice.
It's guaranteed.
There's no juice in it.
The juice
is juiced.
It's juiced. Yeah, maybe stay away from it, guys. No, stay away from it. We're not making any bets on this fight.
Yeah, like I said, gun to the head, Macy, but the fight might be a pass overall.
It's a pass.
I think so.
We can move on to the next one.
Next fight, the featured fight. Nate the Train Landwehr. This is a featherweight fight. Yeah, Nate the Train Landwehr versus Austin Lights Out Lingo. Both guys on a 2-fight win streak. Landwehr fighting out of Clarkson, Tennessee, 34 years old, 16-4 overall. Austin Lingo, hometown boy, fighting out of Dallas, Texas, 28 years old, 9-1. This fight is going to be a banger, I think. This is going to be a very good fight to watch. A lot of, Nate, tough guy to get out. Always, it's never a boring fight with Nate.
No.
I'm a little worried on the Lingo side because originally he was supposed to fight Ricardo Ramos about 2 weeks ago. And Ricardo ended up pulling out because of a botched weight miss. So I'm worried about Lingo a little bit because Lingo's got to make weight again 2 weeks out. And then now he's fighting Landwehr, who's, if you there's two things you can give Landwehr. Tough as hell, cardio.
Yeah. He shows up.
The only thing I don't like is that what's Nate's odds?
Minus 225.
That's
crazy.
Big. That's kind of big for Nate. I kind of like betting Nate as a dog, but betting Nate as a favorite is a little scary. I think he still wins. I think this is the way, as the Mandalorian would say. But it's one right there, Mando boy. Actually,
Star Wars shit.
That's Star Wars.
Vader. Star Wars shit.
That's actually Darth Vader over there.
Oh, where's Mando? He's over here somewhere.
I got Boba Fett over here.
Oh, we might not have Mando on this wall, man.
We don't have Mando on the Hall of Fame. On the Wall of Fame. Sorry, guys.
Mando got faded. Just like Nate Landwehr is going to get faded on him getting picked straight in this fight.
Yeah, I think Landwehr is the side. I don't know how to bet this, but I think it's going to be a very good fight. Maybe it's a stay away. I don't know. No, actually, maybe the over.
The over.
Maybe the over.
I love the over in this fight.
Because both these guys hard to finish.
Yeah. Lingo's also not a big puncher.
Is he?
He's all right. Like, he finishes he's had 10 fights. He's finished 5 of them. Everything else has gone to decision. So he's a 50% finisher. So
And Lingo hasn't fought in a while either, too.
Yep.
It's been a while since he's fought. And then, now he's got to make weight again 2 weeks out against a guy who's a cardio machine and a very tough out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see why Nate is the lean and why he's the favorite. But
Nate also a 50% finisher.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So I'll be honest with you guys. The over set at minus 190 right now, over 1.5, but I like that bet.
That's not bad, actually.
It's not. It's a little juiced, but
juiced.
It's.
You could parlay.
You could definitely parlay that.
I like that.
But I also like it straight. I like this fight to go over.
Yeah, I think you know what? You're probably right. You could balls it and bet it straight. I think.
I agree.
Because I think it hits more times than not.
It's gonna hit. Yeah. So that fight would be getting my money for sure.
A fight that might not be getting my money though. I mean, if you're ready to move on, because I think we're good with the Nate.
I think so too.
The co-main event. I don't think this should be the co-main. This probably should be flipped with the Nate Landwehr. But I mean, it's
a name.
It's a name. Holly Holm,
the preacher's daughter.
The preacher's daughter. Well, technically, Cowan is also an actual preacher's daughter, Hailey Cowan. They both. She
don't take precedent over Holly Holm.
Holly Holm laid claim already?
Nah, she laid claim.
I mean, she old as hell though. She might be the preacher's mother now. Just being honest. Well, anyway, Holly Holm, the preacher's daughter, going against Yana. What's her?
Konechkaya, but now
Santos.
That's a FKA, formerly known as. Now she is Santos because she's officially married to Thiago Santos.
Yes. Number 6 bantamweight going against the number 9 bantamweight. Holly Holm, 14-6, fighting out of Albuquerque, New Mexico, 41 years old, going against Yana Santos. She's Russian, but the last name is always funny to me. I don't know why that's funny. Am I stupid? Whatever. That made me laugh for no reason. I don't know. 14-6, fighting out of St. Petersburg, Russia. But not really, probably not. She's probably just fighting with Santos, wherever Santos is at. 14-6. They both lost their last fights. This fight, interesting. I don't know how to feel about this fight. Holly Holm just got signed recently to a 6-fight deal. 41 years old. I feel like low-key, Holly Holm has probably got a couple more. She's probably going to make one last title run. And I think the first fight she loses, she probably retires.
I agree.
because I don't think she fights all 6 of those fights. The same way like John Jones got signed to an 8-fight deal, but I don't think he's fighting all 8 of those fights. So I feel like that deal was more of a, hey, we're just going to lock you in for the long term. You don't go nowhere. We own the rights to you, whatever, UFC. This fight is interesting, though, because my brother was telling me off camera. Yana might be a little live here.
Yep. I think this fight's probably not going to get any of my money. This fight to go the distance, for sure, probably is going to get my money. Holly is very tough to finish.
Is it not juiced?
It's probably juiced as hell, though. But regardless, there's a couple of things here, guys. And this is what we warned you guys about. Holly Holm, 41 years old.
Yes.
Very hard for me to put my money on a 41-year-old. Yana, just coming off of having a child. Now, historically, if you're looking at it recently, Juliana Pena and Mackenzie Dern just had kids, and they became better fighters, in my opinion, which is wild.
Fighting for that kid.
I feel like that's part of it, but
motivation, you know?
It's crazy. But what I will say is the over 2.5 of this fight is at minus 280. Might be parlayable, but as well, too, there's a couple of ways I look at this fight. Holly, what I can count on. She's going to come in with cardio. She's going to come in with volume. Yana, I don't know. And I don't know because she just had a child. I don't know what her fight style is like. I don't know where she is mentally. What I will say, though, is if she does come in the same way she usually does, she's going to be a pressure fighter. Can get Holly against the cage. Probably can take her down and hold her there and win minutes. Very tough fight to call. If Yana didn't have a child, I might be saying, let's take a dog shot here. However, I think I'm going to be staying away from this fight. I might parlay the rounds somewhere because I think it does go over. I don't think anyone gets finished in this fight. But if Yana didn't have a child, I might be taking a dog shot on her. But I'm probably going to be staying away from this fight because there's just too many questions from both sides coming into this fight. And if Holly got signed to a 6-fight deal, that means she's contemplating retirement. There's no way. And the UFC's making sure that they lock her up so she doesn't go somewhere else for a bigger bag. Yeah, so, I'm going to stay away from this fight. I like the rounds maybe as a parlay piece, but that's it.
Yeah, because, if she fought all 6 of those fights, she's probably going to be like 44, 45 by the end of that. That's insane. I don't see her fighting that much longer.
No.
If I'm being honest. Listen, Yana could probably come out like Superwoman because she had the kid. And, I don't know. This fight's a little weird to me. I think you're right. I think it's probably just like a pass. For me, it's going to be like a pass overall. I do like your angle on the rounds. Because, I don't see anybody really getting... listen, unless Holly Holm...
head kicks her.
Has, the age has degenerated her so much where Yana could, finish her. Holly Holm... It's weird. It's weird because I could see this fight playing out like a numerous amount of ways. But I do think more often than not, I do think the over does hit. So I do like that angle from you. I just don't know how to feel about this fight in general.
Yeah, no. I think it's a pass. I'll be honest with you. Maybe the over on a parlay piece, and that's about all. Like, unless Holly catches her with a head kick, which I hope Yana is preparing for, or Yana just drowns her with pressure and just buries her, which I don't see happening. I think Holly still hasn't, she looked really good against Caitlin Vera. You could argue she won that fight.
Yeah.
I'm staying away from this fight, and now I think onto the main event, and that's it. So
the main event. Bantamweight, 5-rounder. Ooh, banger. This fight is sick. Marlon Chito Vera versus Corey Sandhagen. Marlon Vera, 22-7, 30 years old, 4-fight win streak, going against Corey Sandhagen. Not on a fight win streak. 1-fight win streak, I guess. Whatever. 15-4, 30 years old. Both not hometown anybody. Chito, Ecuadorian, fighting out of Irvine, California. I'm not sure what camp is over there. Corey Sandhagen, Aurora, California. Elevation Fight Team. Okay. This fight is sick. And I know that on paper, Sandhagen is going to probably out-volume Chito. I know that Sandhagen is the more... he's got more tools in his toolkit in the toolbox. But for some reason, I like Vera here. I like Cheeto. Maybe it's me being a fan, but I don't know. At the same time, it's like when you watch Vera fight, I mean, it never looks pretty. But this dude wins moments, and he wins big moments. And Vera's sick. Like he's just like insane. Like he's almost been in the UFC for 10 years. It's like 9 years, I think. Vera's just been able to put his game together in such a way. And I mean, underrated power. I think probably one of the strongest in the division. Crazy chin. Doesn't like you could punch this guy a million times and he could go to the club because he wears damage excellent. I mean, but Sandhagen he's a son of a gun. He's very good. This fight is sick. I don't know how to feel about this fight. Sandhagen is probably the rightful favorite statistically, but you can't deny Cheeto.
No.
And especially the run that he's been on. He just makes people look silly.
Yeah.
I don't know how to feel. This fight is actually kind of hard for me to pick. I think I'm leaning Vera, but I don't know if that's my fandom talking or that's the proof is in the pudding. When you watch this guy fight, I mean, Vera's just, again, I don't know. What? Yeah, I'm stuck. I'm stuck on this fight, brother.
So just like you, I'm done picking against Vera because I think Vera. I picked him. I think of his last 2 or 3 fights, I think I picked him against him twice, and I was wrong. And I'm not gonna pick against him again. What I do like in this fight is the rounds. The rounds are sitting at minus 205 to go over 3.5 rounds. That's definitely a parlayable piece for me. I think this fight does go deep because Sandhagen does have a chin, took some big shots from Peter Yan, got back up, recovered. I could also see Sandhagen controlling Vera with his wrestling. I really could. I don't know if Corey has fought someone that hits like Marlon, but he is very aware of Marlon's tools, and he is a very cerebral fighter, Corey Sandhagen. I like the rounds in this fight. I can see him controlling Marlon with the wrestling, but I could also see Marlon cracking him and knocking him out. But if I'm willing to bet on it, I'm willing. If I'm looking at it this way, guys, I'm looking at someone who can control the fight versus someone who can end the fight. To end the fight, you need a brief minute for it to happen. I'm going to lean on the guy who I think is the better minute winner and for this fight to get extended. Not saying Cheeto can stop him late.
Yeah.
Can definitely happen because he stopped a few boys late. And that Rob Font fight should have gotten stopped late.
Yeah.
They let that go to decision out of respect for Rob Font because he was out-voluming Cheeto. And Cheeto just cracked him and just, it just changed the dynamic of the fight.
Yeah.
Damage is king. This is a great fight, by the way. I don't know who's going to win. I can't tell you who's going to win because the lean would probably have to be Sandhagen.
Yeah, it has to be because.
But I'm not betting against Vera.
Man.
I'm not betting against Vera. I like the rounds in this fight, and I like the rounds as a parlay piece. I like. What is it? I got it right here, guys. Give me 2 seconds. The rounds, for sure, over 3.5 is over 2.5 is minus 300. I like that as a parlay piece. I even like over 3.5 as minus 205 as a parlay piece. Over 4.5 is at minus 155. I don't think that's the worst bet, but I don't know if the fight's gonna go that far. But Cheeto can stop him late. It's crazy. This fight is very good. I don't know how to score. And I think people think Corey's gonna dog walk Cheeto on the floor. I don't think that's gonna happen.
I don't think so either.
I think Cheeto's takedown defense increases as the fight goes on. He usually gets taken down the first round or two, and he gets better with stuffing the takedown as it goes. He's good at making real good in-fight adjustments. And that's the one thing that gets overlooked about Cheeto. Cheeto's fight IQ is very high, but so is Corey's. This is why the fight is so good. But Cheeto makes better in-fight adjustments than Corey. I think Corey's better at staying to a game plan and implementing that game plan no matter what happens. Did it against Song, did it against Peter Yan, even though Peter Yan, he took an L. Did it against TJ, you could argue he won the fight. Yeah, this fight is the round for me.
This fight is
It's great.
It's sick.
It's a great fight.
Because again, this is one of those things. Like, I mean, it doesn't matter. Any kind of Cheeto Vera fight you see on paper never looks good. Never looks good. Sandhagen, you're right. Very cerebral, very smart. Got a lot of tools in his toolbox because he can strike very well. He can grapple very well. He's got, he could threaten submission. He can do a lot of things. Like, Sandhagen is a very good fighter.
Very good.
But the thing about Vera is
his in-fight adjustments.
He makes not only great in-fight adjustments, but man,
his power.
The power. It's Vera there's fighters that find ways to lose. They'll find a door. For some reason, Vera's just one of those guys, and he's like one of the best at doing it. Just finds ways to win.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, Vera plus money, I like it. But even Sandhagen, I don't know what his money line is. I don't blame you if you take Sandhagen either.
No.
I mean, because he's a very good fighter, and Vera probably shouldn't be taking this fight. I guess he just wants to stay active.
Right.
It's a risky spot for him, but like at the same time, it's like it's not that it's unwinnable. It's just a great fight. It's a great fight. I could see it going both ways. I like Vera. I do like the overs. I like the angle that you're playing here, or that you're seeing here with the overs. It can get a little dicey though. The bigger the over, the 3.5 or 4.5, because I mean Vera has that one touch.
Yeah,
and I don't see Sandhagen getting finished early, but I can see Sandhagen getting finished late. And I also could see Sandhagen possibly finishing Vera.
Yeah, it can happen, and with the grappling. And I will say too that I know Corey does have he has a pretty good chin from what we've seen. The thing is, I question, can he take a shot from someone that hits as hard as this, especially as a guy who cuts a ton of weight to make this weight class.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he's fought anyone that hits like Marlon. Marlon hits on a different stratosphere than probably most of the division.
Yeah, it's like you have a chin, but you don't know if you really have the chin
until you fight Marlon.
And
the thing is too, here's the other spot thing you guys can do too. If you guys are interested in playing Marlon, which I don't think is the worst thing, he's going to drop the first 2 rounds, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Wait for him to drop the first 2 rounds and live bet him at like plus 450.
Yeah, if you still feel like Marlon's the side, that's a because he's plus money now.
Yeah.
So I don't blame you if you want to jump on the plus money now, but if you want a better number, he probably loses the first 2 rounds.
Yeah.
He definitely probably loses the first round for sure. I can see the live bet spot is very interesting because you can get a very juicy plus number on him.
I agree.
If you still think he's the way.
Yeah, if you want to bet him, I suggest waiting maybe a round or 2 and then take him.
I like that.
And I think that's the way to play it. But I think the rounds in this fight are the move. Mm-hmm. That's what you're getting from me. But I think that's about all for UFC, right?
Yeah, I mean that pretty much wraps it up. I mean,
Well, here's something else for you. And by the way, guys, so we have some big boxing fights this weekend. And we left this for last because we felt like it was justified last.
Talk to me, brother.
We got Jose Ramirez versus Richard Comey.
Okay.
And we have David Benavidez versus Caleb Plant.
Ooh.
Jesus,
that fight is
sick. Okay, so I won't give you a pick on the Richard Comey Jose Ramirez fight yet because that's a very tough fight to pick.
Mm-hmm. That one I probably still have to do a little more.
A little more recon.
Deep diving.
More recon.
Deep dive into it a little more.
But David Benavidez versus Caleb Plant. Guys, I'm telling you, if you are not a fan of boxing and you are just a fan of MMA, I highly suggest to tune into that fight. David Benavidez is a pressure fighter.
Talk to him.
Walks opponents down. Puts a lot of pressure. Also hits from different angles. Caleb Plant, very elusive. Likes to fight off his back foot. Can counterpunch very well. Put Andre Durrell on Satan's door last fight with a left hook. Oh my God, it was filthy. What I will say, guys, this is a great stylistic matchup. Something you guys should definitely tune into. If the over is set at like maybe 8.5, I might take it. Thing is, it depends because David does present a lot of problems, I feel, for a lot of these guys in this weight class. He's very big, very long. I like David Benavidez, by the way, to win this fight. Does he knock him out? Possibly. I will go. I will wait for that one, but David, I think, is going to win this fight. The reason being, I think Caleb does have issues with pressure fighters and people who go to the body. Canelo Alvarez kind of exploited that, and Canelo Alvarez is not the same awkward, dynamic puncher that Benavidez is, but he also presents a lot of problems because he goes to the body. Canelo also went to the body. War on Caleb, stopped him late. I could see a late stoppage here for David Benavidez, but I also can see this fight going to decision because Caleb has gotten battle tested. He is a very smart fighter.
Yes.
And I also can see him exploiting some things because David blocks with his chin. He blocks with his face. And
Caleb's got a little pop too.
A little pop. But what I will say is I like David in this fight. I like David because I think he's going to be the better minute and moment winner in this fight. I like David Benavidez straight. I'm pretty sure the line is not too juiced. Like, I'll take a look at it for you guys now. But I also think boxing is also trying to push this kid to be the next guy for Canelo.
I agree.
After Canelo gets done with his business with Bivol or whoever he's going to fight next. But I do like David Benavidez and Caleb Plant. I don't want to say he's a live dog.
I think it's a good fight, man.
It's a great fight.
It's a good fight.
It's a great fight. I just see David Benavidez with his youth and his chin holding up against Caleb. Caleb not a vicious puncher, but he's a sharper puncher for sure.
Yeah, he can get you with the accuracy for sure. I think Benavidez is the lean. I do agree with my brother here. It's gonna be a banger of a fight. It's gonna be a God. I almost forgot that boxing was. Because I was so enthralled with this UFC card because I think this UFC card is also gonna be
good,
very good, underrated good.
Yeah.
But yeah, this boxing fight, woo-wee.
Yeah. There's good fights this weekend, and from a technical standpoint, and like just stylistically with Benavidez is not in a boring fight ever. Yeah. My man walks down dudes and just throws volume. He's at -310. I think he might be worth it straight. I want to see what the rounds are for this fight. I'm very curious, but I will say, over 9.5. That makes sense. You see what? It's a little scary for 9.5. It is. Yeah. I think it probably could go over, but I'm not sure. But I will say too, if you are betting Benavidez, I would say Benavidez late. I wouldn't say Benavidez early because Caleb is a very slick boxer, very good footwork, knows how to move out the way. But I think David Benavidez is probably the pick in this fight. I'm going to go that far. And I think that's the Richard Comey, Jose Ramirez fight. We got to do a little more recon, but I like this. I like this David Benavidez pick. I think he's going to win this fight this weekend.
Yeah, he's my lean as well. I kind of want to dive into it just a little more, but I can't disagree with anything you were spouting there.
Yeah, Caleb's going to expose some things, win or lose in this fight. Caleb is going to catch him coming in. He's going to hit him with a lot of straights. He's going to hit him with a lot of hooks. David's problem is his defense, in my opinion. He's gonna lean on his chin till he can't anymore, and that's his only problem. But he is young. He is a young bull, and my man has an enormous amount of volume and hits from very weird angles. He's a dynamic puncher. It's a great fight stylistically, and guys, you should definitely tune into it. Even if you're not big boxing heads, it's a fun fight. So, but I think that pretty much covers it, right?
That should be it. I mean, we got some exciting MMA. We got some exciting boxing this weekend. I mean, I think we covered the bases.
I agree.
I think we're good here.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, guys, you already know. Follow us on all the social media handles: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok.
YouTube, baby. You guys are watching. Hit the subscribe, hit the like, notification, leave a comment. We got y'all covered.
Absolutely. And for all the audio listeners, Google, Apple, and Spotify, all available, all readily available. And by the way, guys, once again, not to emphasize this, but I am going to emphasize this a lot and enough.
Spit, brother, spit.
$3.99 for all of this quality product and for quality picks. And like I said, you don't have to know shit about boxing and MMA, but if you are mirroring our picks and listening to us, you are going home. If you are making these bets, you are going home with more money in your pocket than you had yesterday.
Or at least that's the goal. That's the goal.
No, well, for the last 6 weeks, they have been.
Yeah, we've been hot.
So, it's not always going to be the case, but more times than not, with the goal that we set, we're going to make sure we get more money in your pockets. And like I said, we didn't make a lot of bets on this card, but rightfully so, because this is a very dangerous card and we don't got you guys losing money and giving out picks that may possibly lose you money.
I agree.
So, just like we said, follow us on Instagram and Twitter for any live updates that we may or may not make with these picks. And just make sure you tune in as well as follow us so you guys can get the most up-to-date news and picks and bets and things of that nature to shore up those pockets.
Please show us that love, just show a little support. We supporting your pockets. At least support the content. You know what I'm saying?
And non-monetarily, by the way. We're not asking for money, guys. We just want the love. We just want subscriptions. We just want some follows.
Yeah.
Get some more notoriety out there. And listen, there's a lot of people that put their bets behind paywalls. We do not. We make sure we get it to you guys, and we make sure we put you guys in the best positions to make some money.
Yeah, all we do and all we're asking for, just follow us. Just like the video, like the audio, subscribe for free. We're not charging you a dime. We just want support. Support us here. Let us know that our hard work is paying off.
And by the way, if you guys want to, drop a comment. And the thing is, if there's enough comments, we're gonna definitely open up a section of this podcast where we discuss some of your comments and we're gonna discuss some of your questions. So definitely drop questions and things of that nature. We want to expand this thing, and we want to make sure that you guys, the people we are actually supporting as well, are getting some love on this podcast because they're giving us love by either commenting, liking, following, or subscribing. So just show us some love, man. And once again, follow us on all those social media handles. Follow us on YouTube, Spotify, all those other extra audio platforms, everything.
TikTok,
you already
Facebook, know. Twitter everywhere. Because, we try to be a little active on Twitter.
Yep.
TikTok is a banger. Instagram, banger. Facebook, banger.
And Twitter, our most active platform, to be quite frank with you.
Yeah.
Follow and subscribe on YouTube. And for all the audio listeners, like we said, follow on Spotify, Apple, and Google.
Yes, sir.
Love ya. Holla at ya. Body bag.
Take it easy, boys and girls.